Good morning, everyone. Now, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 6, Changes Around Us. So, everything around us is undergoing a change. So, what is a change? Change is a continuous process. Some changes can be reversed and some cannot be reversed. Some changes are reversible and some are irreversible. A change may occur by heating a substance or by mixing it with some other. There are some common changes which are taking place in nature. Common changes taking place in nature are changes position. For example, sunrise and sunset. This is an example of a change in position. The sun rises in the east and sunset in the west. So there is a change in position. Next is change in color. Sky at night and day. You have seen that at night the sky looks dark or black, and in day its color is light blue or white. Next is change in shape. Look at the moon. Uh, you you have seen that the shape of the moon changes day by day. Next is change in size. Example is a seed germinate. The germination of seed take place, and during germination the size of seed changes continuously. Next is change in temperature. For example, hot summer and cold winter. Like in winters the temperature is very high, and like in summers the temperature is very high, and in winters it is very low. Change in state or form. Water on cooling and heating. Like the when we cool the water it changes in, or freeze the water it changes into ice, and when we heat this ice it changes into water, so it changes the state or form. Next is rusting of iron. Now next is types of changes. There are 4 types of changes mainly. First is reversible, irreversible, physical and chemical change. So we will discuss them one by one. First is reversible change. A change in which the initial substance can be obtained back by reversing the action. A reversible change is a change in which we get the initial substance by reversing the action. For example, folding of paper. If we fold the paper and we want to unfold it again, so we can do it easily. So folding of paper is a reversible change. Next is dissolving sugar in water. If we dissolve sugar in water and we want sugar and water separately, so after boiling the water evaporate and we get water and sugar separately. Next is melting of ice. So after melting of ice we get water, and if we again want ice, so we can freeze this water and we will again get the ice. Now next change is irreversible change. Change in which the initial substance cannot be obtained by reversing the action. So those changes which cannot be reversed, or the changes in which the initial substance cannot be obtained by reversing the action are called irreversible change. For example, burning of paper. If we burn this paper, so we will never get it back by reversing the action. Next is grinding grains. After grinding the grains, we will never get it back in the initial position or initial shape. Next is ripening of mango. Once the mango is ripened, we will never get it as a raw mango. Cooking of food. After the cooking of food, we will never get the raw food. So all these are examples of irreversible changes. Next is physical change, changes in the form of substance but not in chemical identity. Those changes in which the form of substance changes but its chemical identity doesn't change, and no new substance formed in the physical change. Change is sometimes reversible, and few physical changes are reversible. For example, breaking a log of wood. See this. Breaking a log of wood is an example of a physical change because in this change the form of substance changes but no new substance is formed. Next is boiling water. When we boil water, its form changes but its chemical identity doesn't change. Next is mixing of sand and water. This mixing of sand and water is an example of a physical change, and this is a reversible change also. Next is chemical change, changes in which the substance is transformed into new substance. Initial substance is lost. Change is always irreversible. Those changes in which the chemical identity is changed or in which the substance is transformed into new substance and initial substance is lost, and in the chemical change we will never get back the initial substance. For example, burning a log of wood. See this, if we burn this log of wood, we will never get it back in its initial position or initial shape. Next is digestion of food. After the food is digesting, we will never get it back in its initial position. Next is baking a cake. It is also a chemical change. Chemical battery usage. This is also an example of a chemical change. So there are 4 types of changes: reversible change, irreversible change, physical change, and chemical change. Now there are several ways by which changes occur. First is boiling and condensation. Boiling, the rapid vaporization of a liquid when it is heated to its boiling point. The vaporization of a liquid when it is heated is called its boiling, and after boiling the change occur. Next is condensation, the change of water vapor into liquid water on cooling. So when the water vapor cool down, it again converted into liquid, so this is also a change. Next is heating of metal, process in which a metal is heated to a certain temperature. When we heated metal at a certain temperature and cooled in a particular manner to alter its internal structure for obtaining desired degree of physical and mechanical properties such as its brittleness, hardness, and softness. So after heating at certain temperature, these changes occur. It's some properties changes like brittleness, hardness, and softness. Next is freezing and melting. First is freezing, the process in which a liquid turns into solid when its temperature is lowered. Ice is an example of this freezing, in which a liquid is changes into solid when its temperature is lowered. Next is melting, the process in which a solid converts into liquid by applying heat. The process in which any solid changes into liquid by applying heat. For example, melting of ice. Next is using pressure to change things. Air can be compressed by applying pressure. Pressure may change the shape of the object. So by applying pressure, we can change the shapes of objects. So these are the ways by which changes occur. First is boiling, second is condensation, third is heating of a metal, freezing, melting, and using pressure to change things. So there are 4 types of changes: physical change, chemical change, reversible change, and irreversible change. And these are the ways by which changes occur: boiling, condensation, heating of metal, freezing, melting, and using pressure to change things. So I hope you have understood this chapter very well. Thank you and see you in the next video.